A cold and wet morning down here at Winton Raceway for round 2 of the Hi-Tec Drift Allstars. Now we've had an action-packed day of practice yesterday, wet patches out there, and we've got a patchy track out here again today. I mean, Scott, you're here riding along with some of the drivers, even did a couple of laps yourself. I mean, what was it like out there?
Oh, it was just dismal out there yesterday. The track was so patchy. Obviously, we had a lot of rain yesterday, so, you know, in the afternoon it started to dry, which is good, so the boys got a couple of runs, but just coming onto this straight here, obviously there's some rubber being left down from past events, and it's just like black ice up that straight, so hopefully it dries up for competition today, the rain stays away, and we get some good battles.
It's an exciting section on the front S's at Winton. The first time we've run this layout since the Trans-Tasman Series. Last time we're here on the back end, so switching it up is an interesting layout that's quite fast with a few new clipping points along the front straight and a big tyre chicane that I hear Rob Arbolino actually found yesterday.
Yeah, like I said, it was drama out there. He pushed a little bit wide in that ripple strip and ended up in some tyres, but a few of the boys had dramas yesterday. As you expect in wet conditions, no one can be perfect, and hopefully today it just stays dry.
Standing next to me is Michael Prosnick, round 1 winner and championship leader. Michael, tell me how you're feeling today.
Yeah, not too bad. It's, the weather's a bit on and off, so we've been playing around with setups. We've got a wet and a dry setup, had a couple of good runs with Bo Yates this morning. Feeling confident, just hopefully the weather stays one way or the other, wet or dry, and we'll push through.
Well, last time we spoke to you at round 1, you told me after time attack you kind of just put the car in the garage and didn't touch it and brought it back out. Is that the same this time around?
Pretty much. The Doors performance guys look after the car, they keep it maintained. They put a couple more ponies into it, run about 800 horsepower. A couple of diff gear changes yesterday, but it's running good. It needs a bit of a birthday. Body kit's looking a bit average, but it's going all right.
I'm here with Bo the Show, mate. We're back at Winton Raceway and the weather has been put on.
Yeah, well, Mother Nature's opened the floodgates, and look, the track's it's really different in certain parts. I mean, the Essies are fine, but we get onto the straight here where the judges have put these tyre barriers out, and I think a couple of weeks ago they had a like a rolling burnout comp, so the track's really slick on this straight area. So. Look, it's going to be anyone's game out there, and depending on what the weather does, but you know, the Achilles radials are hooking up well today in the rain, and it's definitely going to be challenging. And you can't even read the line because it's so slick out there, it just looks like a pane of glass. So look, it's really slippery, and for these high horsepower cars, when the engines, they light up, the back really swings out. So, and there's a couple of tyre barriers there just to keep us honest, but look, it's going to be pretty tricky conditions, and let's just hope Mother Nature, you know, she keeps the weather away.
Now, I've seen some damage here before even qualifying started. What happened yesterday, Scott?
I had a bit of a spin early on in the rain. It's like super slippery, and yeah, left, I think it was Matt Walters, nowhere to go. So it is what it is, that's motorsport, but disappointing because we just repaired it after Sydney, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I've seen you did some major work, 2 days before the event even started, so you know, the cars all pulled apart, so it's a shame things like that happens, but you know, it is a slippery track out there today, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just starting to rain now. I think it's going to be so treacherous, but the event's over for me anyway, but I hope the boys are safe and yeah, put on a good show.
So I've got Finny O'Hare with me. Finny, you've got your beautiful bright yellow S15 here, and it's called Battle Weapon. How'd you go at practice yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday was good fun. It was a bit wet, a bit treacherous, but that's what we like, being drifters, you know, get a bit dangerous, so it was good.
You got a crazy amount of horsepower. It's 800 horsepower. So how are you going with those semis, those good ride semis on the wet?
Yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah, surprisingly good. You know, I haven't done a lot of wet practice with the good rides, but they're pretty good.
Finny O'Hare coming leaps and bounds, really getting a handle on that Battle Weapon S15, and this is how the points are stacking up for the Pro class. Now, Michael Prosnick taking out the win in round 1, closely followed by Bo Yates, who had a few deep eating issues in that battle, and I'm sure is eager to chase down the pros. Rob Arbolino not far behind, Brad Toohey, Aaron Dewar, Benny Meir, Angus Kidd, and then Warwick Hill rounding out the top 8 of the Pro class.
Dan Mackey, head judge, mate, here round 2, Winton Raceway. Weather's turned it on for us, it's nice and cold. Mate, tell us a bit about the layout, what you want from the drivers today.
Yeah, Shembry, it's definitely very cold down here, mate, and standing on this main straight is not fun at all, so we'll get this done quick, smart, I think. Look, what we've done here is we've gone to the front S is the key with that bit, and what we're calling section 1 is to make sure you hit 3 of the inner clip zones there. The entry is important too, to try and get on that, get a lot of angle on as early as you can. So the key points for telling the drivers and drivers briefing was to make sure you got the angle on, maintain a moderate speed, but the key was to have the angle and hit all those clips. Once they come out of that, we're going into, we've kind of modified the main straight here a little bit, put our own little chicane in, just to extend the track for the guys, and we've got 3 outer zones there for them. So it's important, really important for the guys to push out of zone 1 and out to the outer zone there at the start of zone 2. Once they get to that outer zone, it's almost they've got to flare the car a little bit, slow up, wash off some speed, flick it back to the other side, and it's actually, a lot of the guys are saying they're finding it a lot shorter to hit all of the clips up here, all the zones up here, than they were expecting. It's not just a big power skid up the hill, and if guys are doing it, they've been deducted. So we're still asking them to maintain lots of angle up through there, flare the cars into the zones to show us that they're hitting all of the zone, they've got that angle on board, and then they're pushing out through the finish line up here where we're standing.
Speaking of action, here's your boy Michael Krosnick in that naturally aspirated big power V8 S13, and man was he out there slaying really nicely through the practice. And this is the zone here that we're looking to see drivers filling. Pros grabbing a little bit of handful of handbrake, trying to go wide there. Rob Arbolino in the Hi-Tec Allstars 350Z. Now, a couple of mishaps, in practice yesterday, but that's not going to stop him driving it. Got under the car, straightened out the rear wheels after backing it into a tyre barrier here, and managed to drive the absolute wheels off it.
And Bailey Show Yates in your top qualifier, once again doing what he does best, cool, calm and calculated.
Right here is where he really nailed that top qualifying position, going wide onto that outside ripple strip there, very deep. So Bo Yates up in the top position with 93.3, but Rob Arbolino only that 0.3 of a point behind, and Michael Krosnick in third. So less than 2 points between our top qualifiers. That's sure to make for some tight battles, Scott.
Mel Hooley absolutely on fire in that fourth position. Aaron Dewar 5th, Justin Gruner 6th, Adam Brooks, mate, Fairy Tale Story in 7th, and Finney O'Hare ran out your top 8.
Man, I'm keen to see Justin Gruner do some battles as the local heavyweight, front running that Vic Drift Series. But also, you're right, Adam Brooks with the Fairy Tale Story. JK heading onto the trailer after a blown turbo. They switched some gearboxes around, managed to get Brooksy on the track. We'll talk a bit more about that later during his battles, but Finney O'Hare now out in front, leading Brad Toohey. I tell you what, moving to a faster circuit with a bit more road speed, Finney has just gotten such a better handle on that battle weapon S15.
Mate, the crazy Irishman has really stepped it up this weekend. Done really good in practice yesterday, fought those tough conditions. Out there today, putting it towards the reigning champion.
Yeah, the wheel shot backing that fluoro yellow S15, and it just looks so nice out there. One of the best presented cars in the field, but you know what? Brad Toohey again and again laying down solid results in that twin supercharged 8.6. That V8 powered car just absolutely slays it.
Yeah, twin Rotec superchargers on the LS, PPG sequential gearbox, Achilles tyres, but mate, the wheel shot battle weapon absolutely slaying.
How impressive for Finney to outpace someone who is a reigning champion of the Hi-Tec Drift Allstars Series. Brad Toohey has had a lot of tough battles in his time, so for Finney to pack on some extra speed is very impressive. But it looks like he's gone a little bit deep there off the outside of the first corner. He's going to be absolutely gutted for a guy who's been driving so well in that big JZ powered S15, but it looks like Brad Toohey, by the skin of his teeth, has found his way into the top 8 as a result of a mistake from Finney, who otherwise had the advantage in that wheel shop battle weapon S15.
Mate, Finney, the crazy Irishman. I just can't wait to see the day where he has like a trouble-free weekend and gets on that podium. That would be happy for me. But Brad Toohey goes through. Thanks to Good Ride Tyres for the replay.
Into our next battle now. Mo El Hooley up against D-Lam Dan Ristic. Now, you might remember Daniel from having that rotary-powered FD-RX-7, but he's now shoehorned a rotary into this light little A86 with Mo El Hooley leading him. You know what, Scott? I reckon these two cars are probably the fastest in terms of road speed that we've seen so far. Very light, lots of power, and lots of grip from the rear end heading to that replay now.
Mo El Hooley, mate, he always knows like a little soft spot for him. He's just a killer person, killer car. But Daniel Christic in that 86, he's only second event in that car. It just shows so much speed and potential. Can't wait till he gets it fully dialed in and puts those battles out with the boys.
And it's really up this hill here onto the front straight where these two cars have just been gapping everybody else through practice and through qualifying. And now this is going to be the battle as they both switch positions. Dan Christic out in front now. Mo Elhouli in that Turbo LS Garageworks S13. I reckon that's the car to beat in terms of speed this weekend. Heading nice and wide. Not only is that rotary singing and Dan Christie getting the speed, but you see Mo Elhouli there going into that deep outside pocket. We'll see it on the onboard replay now. So they come through the inside clip, switch back left, another inside clip. As you switch back here, yes, there's an inside clip, but off to the left, you got to go so wide into that pocket there. And while Dan Christie took the easy line through the middle there, that might have got him some more road speed, Mo Elhouli went right deep in there, and I reckon the judges are going to love that.
Rob Arbolino versus Angus Kidd, the Hi-Tec Oils Twin Turbo 350Z.
Talking about speed, how's the squat and go out of that Hi-Tec 350? Rob just pulling a big old gap on Angus Kidd in the Supra.
Yeah, Rob and the boys put a lot of effort into that car this year to get some speed out of it, get the power down to the ground. Is really showing off. A few dramas in the practice, but you know, they've bounced back, got the car sorted, and good to see him back out there and put on a killer show. And Angus in the Game On Motorsports Supra 2JZ 700 horsepower.
Woo!
Just gets left behind the line. I don't know if he missed the gear. I don't know what happened, but yeah, definitely something to give Rob that lead.
Yeah, big gap there has been opened up, and Angus Kidd trying to reel him back in, but good luck chasing a twin turbo LS 350Z. My bad.
Yeah, nearly got a couple numbers wrong. We're just turning it around. The Kid in the lead. Game On Motorsports Supra. Got a few battle scars and that thing, but listen to that 2JZ sing. Angus putting on a good lead for Rob to chase.
You know, at a couple of spots there, Angus did seem to be a couple of steps ahead of Rob, you know, getting the transition early. And I believe it's the gap that he got from the start line, but it's when they get back on the... Actually, that was really nice emulation from Rob there, but it's this switch back here where he was a little bit late. And as they come onto the straight, you know, you see Rob just reeling him back in over the line and just bettering his line, getting a little bit more lock over the hill, but very nicely battled from Angus Kidd. And, you know, if you would have been up against anyone else, maybe a better chance.
Yeah, mate, let's turn it around. Oh, here he is, the story. The Biz, Adam Brooks, mate, against Luke Muddy.
And to be honest, let's not overlook Luke Moody either. He's made a big trip up here from South Australia. You know, it is a car that, you know, the pink on the front and the rear of that car supporting the cancer plight of a local young little lass there. So, you know, really the heart going out there for the drifters, and Luke Moody making a big run up here to compete. But he's up against one of my favourite blokes in the drift community, Adam Brooks. Now, he might be out there, you know, pit crewing for JK. You know, you might have seen that one agency S13. Unfortunately, in practice and in qualifying, blew not one but two turbos, while Brooksy in practice managed to blow third gear out of that S15. So they switched gearboxes around. Brooksy, for the first time in 2.5 years, piloting that S15. And then into his first ever competition, qualified 7th, which was absolutely skits on your mate. But look at how nicely he's battling. Not only is he chasing nice and close, but his transitions have been real nice and smooth, buttery, you know, switching out. There's no snap there. It's just a very well set up car, and for its first event out, massive props to Brooksy and the boys for getting that together.
Yeah, what a weekend. Let's take a look at the replay. Thanks to Good Ride Tyres once again. We've got Luke in the lead, Adam in the chase. Let's see what they can do. As you can see, a little bit of a bubble there from Adam, but after Luke's big mistake in his chase in the previous run, he'll get the advantage.
Yeah, Brooksy very, you know, not even lucky there. Just he's managed to pull together some awesome driving. 2.5 years out of the seat. Now this is a bloke to watch. Michael Prosnick, you know, not only our points leader following his win in round 1 of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars, but also a local and a veteran of Winton Raceway. So Glenn Atkins really drawing the short straw there for his first battle to be up against the pros. But, you know, in his freshly put together, or at least freshly bought S15 with, I believe you were saying, what was it? It was Camo Mode's old driveline, wasn't it, Scott?
Yeah, it's got a fully built LS1 in it, P56 gearbox, Wisefab steering knuckles. It's got all the bids. Glenn's obviously stepped away from the rotor, which we've been wanting to do for a while now, and getting into an S chassis, and he's like really showing out there. A few more rounds and he should be nice and comfortable in that seat.
Yeah, a bit of extra reliability, a bit of interesting steering setup in that S15. It seems to be driving nicely, but like I said before, the absolute short straw going up against the points leader and third place qualifier of Michael Prosnick. Look how comfortable he is in there, just casually dabbing the handbrake, trying to keep his distance right. He knows he's got the advantage from the lead and is perfectly emulating Glenn's line there. And if anything, how good's the early switchback? How do you switch back earlier than the lead car? That is a mega drive from Pros, even in just the top 16.
Mate, you gotta look out for what the car's gonna do in front of you, and be before they do, just to be that better driver. And Pros does just that. Glenn Atkins going home, unfortunately, but he can hold his head high against the Pros.
Confirmation there from the judges, and of course Kitten Ultra, our sponsor, Michael Prosnick going through. Now Justin Gruner up against Anthony Billick. Anthony Billick, a very familiar name here, who's one of the only ones still piloting an SR through the series in that AAA Tyre Factory S13.
The only one.
Really digging that fluoro wheel combo as well. It looks great on there, but Justin Gruner, absolute heavyweight in the Vic Drift series. Figured he'd come down, heard Hi-Tec was coming to the local track, and figured he'd throw his hat into the ring, and man, has he been on fire the whole way through Drift for Real and qualifying.
Hats off, absolutely slaying out there. Anthony Hectic Billick back after missing round 1 in the SR20, only one left in the field, but Justin is all over him here.
Yeah, you're right. That Eastern Wheelworks R33 is just absolutely stepping it up. Look how nice the emulation is here. Through the switchback, Justin all over Billick there, and an obvious win on the Kitten Ultra for Justin Gruner. Now, Bo Yates will be facing up against Brad Toohey in the top 8. Mo El Hooley up against Aaron Duar. Rob Arbolino up against Adam the Biz Brooks in his very first competition, getting through to the top 8. And then Michael Prosnick up against Justin Gruner. 2 locals battling it out. We'll see that top 8 shape up on the other side of the break, and after that, the famous Insurance Pro-Am. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to round 2 of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars down in cold and wet, but damn hot Winton Raceway. We've seen some tight battles so far and a lot of drivers stepping up to the additional speed of this fantastic circuit. One of the locals, Aaron Duar, who's built a couple of motors with Duar Performance engines, has found his way into the top 8 to battle off against another local, Mo El Hooley.
So at round 1, you were knocked back with a blown motor. What happened there?
I had an oil pump belt come off and it hurt the bearings. So we thought we'll call it quits and borrow Pros's car for a little bit. Bit tricky to drive that big powered thing.
Yeah.
So
definitely changing up cars, it's the hardest thing when you're used to your own setup. But look, I'm glad they got the car back. What's the new motor?
the new motor's still the same 427 LSR block, LS powered. So it's pretty grunty and it's got plenty of go about it.
Yeah, I definitely saw you go past before and you're just ripping up those good ride tyres and creating the biggest smoke out there. How are you finding the tyres out in the wet?
Yeah, the good ride tyres have got plenty of grip and 9,000 RPM, that thing sings pretty hard, so just turn them to smoke.
Straight back into the top 8 of the Pro class here at round 2 of Winton Raceway, on board with Brad Toohey.
Finney's #1 fan on the sideline, getting a few bits of footage in. Now the battle of the 8.6s. Bo Yates now leading Brad Toohey in that twin supercharged Toyota 86. Now the Toyota Genuine Parts 86 out in front with that big power JZ. Toohey missing a few of those clipping points while Bo right on that line. And there's a big wheel drop.
We'll lose a couple of points there from the judges. Let's take a look on board thanks to good ride tyres. Brad Toohey in the chase, chasing down Bo Yates. They come through the S's. Just right there, Brad Toohey runs a little bit wide, puts him offline here. He's trying to get back on Bo Yates' door as they come through the top S's. And then boom, wheel drop.
as much as Brad was, you know, maybe a little bit off the clips, he was really there in terms of proximity with Bo. So the speed seems to be pretty equal between these cars. Brad Toohey now leading with Bo Yates in the chase.
Spin him around. Brad Toohey trying to pull a gap on Bo. The show runs that ripple. Does he get out wide where the judges want to see? Not as wide as Bo, but pulls away from him as they come to the top. I'll take a look at the replay again thanks to Good Ride Tyres. Oh, Toohey in the dirt.
Lucky that's after the judge zone 8.
Need a bit of help. Let's have a look. Nice entry from both the boys. Right there. Toohey's on the gas early. Yates is a little bit low to get on it.
Brad out in front trying to lay down that line that the judges are looking for, but the advantage going to Bo Yates.
Mo El Hooley in the lead. Aaron Jawar in the chase. Let's see if Dabs can get on the door. Oh no!
Whoa.
In the dirt through the smoke. What happened to Aaron Jawar?
Chunks of front bar flying everywhere while Mo El Hooley just blazes through the rest of the circuit. They're getting nice out and wide to both of the outside clipping zones on the front straight there. Great drive from Mo El Hooley, even if it was on his own.
Yeah, that garage works. S13 absolutely slaying. Look at Aaron Jawar here. I don't know if his rack's locked up on him, but it sent him straight into the dirt as he tries to enter on Mo's door. Let's spin them around. Jawar's back out in the lead. Mo El Hooley on the chase.
Both of these cars sound unreal. You know, the Jawar Performance engines, a naturally aspirated V8 in there, making somewhere around the 700 horsepower mark with 9,000 RPM in there. Unreal sounding car, but then the Turbo LS behind him in Mo El Hooley just right over the rear bumper of that S14. Mo El Hooley, you know, out of all the cars here on this weekend and at this event, has just had superior speed up the front straight. It's a very quick car, and the Kitten Ultra decision there showing the win for Mo El Hooley, the local.
How comfortable is looking that car. On to the next battle, but no time wasted. Rob Arbolino in the lead in the Hi-Tec Oils 350Z, followed by Adam the Beers Brooks in his newly built S15. Brooksy, something happened there on the takeoff.
Yeah, Rob running out there on his in front on his own and making it look almost like a qualifying run, but I believe Brooksy had a few issues there because he has actually borrowed the gearbox out of JK's car, that one agency S13. Brooksy blowing third in the practice event there, decided to switch him over and just make qualifying, at which point he qualified 7th. There was a mismatch in shifter length with that car, smashing shifter bushes even as he went out for qualifying, so it looks like he missed a gear there. But now Brooksy getting the chance to lead and Rob Arbolino in the chase. It's going to be an interesting one here because that Hi-Tec Oils 350Z has a whole lot of power with that twin turbo LS under the bonnet. You can see Rob just all over Brooksy here, but there's a big smile on that open face helmet. Both these guys having a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, both great mates and both just out there. Brooksy putting on a show, knowing that Rob is going to be on his door in that higher horsepower, higher grip car. But you know what? He's loving just being out there. As you can see, they come through the S's here. Rob is right with him. Beautiful emulation. And Rob Arbolino will go through to the next round in that Hi-Tec Oils 350Z.
And now another one that's sure to shape up. We have Michael Prosnick here, you know, our points leader in the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars, up against Justin Gruner, who is the points leader in the Vic Drift Series, which is the local club that runs a lot of the events at Winton and Calder Park and just generally around Victoria. You know, fantastic club who really feeds back into the grassroots community, and it's great to see these series crossing bloodlines and really getting some of the high talent out there.
Yeah, these guys battled it out at Vic Drift in the final, the last round. Pros got Justin, so he's be ready for war. He wants blood, he wants Pros's door, he wants that spot, pushing nice and hard. They come through the S's here. Prosnick just so cool, calm and collected as he always is.
Man, how many different levers and switches and gadgets are there inside? That is race car and a half.
Let's turn them around, but just a nice aggressive entry. Plenty of speed, but Pros is there, not giving him an inch.
Perfect emulation from Pros in the chase there. All over that handbrake. Justin laying down a really nice lead lap, but unable to open up a gap over Michael Prosnick.
Good run from both the boys there. Let's take a look at the replay thanks to Good Ride Tyres.
Little dab of the handbrake there on the entry. Pros one-handed on the wheel. Very comfortable and right in the rear taillight of that R33. Kitten Ultra confirming there that Michael Prosnick has gotten the judges' nod, but nothing away from Justin Bruno. He has driven so well through Drift for Real and through the qualifying and into the top 8. Now, Bo Yates will be facing off against Mo El Houli in the top 4, and Michael Prosnick, who we've seen just slay the top 8 battle there, will be up against Rob Arbolino, deciding who'll find their way onto the podium and who'll be going for 3rd position there.
I'm here with Michael Prosnick, winner of round 1. Mate, the conditions were terrible out there yesterday. How'd the car go?
Yeah, it was not too bad. We struggled in the morning when it was wet, so we found our wet and dry setup now, so I'm pretty happy. It's a real greasy this morning, and the track's going to change again, but we've got the setup, so hopefully we can pull it off.
All right, well, we're talking about setup. Let's take a quick look at Michael Prosnick's car. One of the best setup cars in the field. Obviously, he's a contender every time he comes out here. Pros, what do you got in the rear here, mate?
So a couple of years ago, we got our fuel cell up the back, our fuel pump's covered, radiator at the back, full Wisefab, and Winter's quick change. So it just makes it easier gear changes. Instead of changing a diff, which takes about 45 minutes on average, we'll do one in about 5 to 10 minutes on a gear change. So we did a couple of gear changes yesterday. It just makes it a hell of a lot easier.
All right, let's go take a look under the hood. So this is where all the magic happens, obviously. Dwyer's built engine. Tell us a bit about the engine, mate.
We just freshened it up, put a new set of bearings in. He did some changed a few bits and pieces in the head, valve springs and rockers, and now we're cranking out about 800 horsepower. Wisefab up the front. We've cut the tubs out. It just makes it so much easier to work on it. While you're at the track, you don't have a lot of time. You've got to get in and out. Generally, you've got a 5-minute rule. You've got to fix stuff. It's got to be accessible. Your catch can and coolers and power steering pump, it's all accessible. So we have to, we can fix it and change it really easy.
Yeah, so obviously it's about making your life a lot easier when it comes to it. All the steering components here. Well-balanced car, mate. Good luck out there today. We might see you on the podium again.
Cheers. Thanks, bro.
Now, before we see the pointy end of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars Pro Series, we will round out the famous Insurance Pro-Am.
Adrian Pinaro in the lead, Flash Smith in the chase. Adrian absolutely slaying his S13 all weekend. Massive dramas on Friday. His dad fought hard, rebuilt a diff in the pits, and he's back out there putting on a show.
And Flash Smith doing very well as well, finding a whole bunch of extra speed out there. Now we have a battle between Jono Voudouris and Alex Gouvier. Alex Gouvier chasing in that black R32 there. Now that blue R32 of Jono out in front, you might recognise from Gav Edwards, who has since sold that car, but it was Alex Gouvier's wheel drop at the end of that battle there that saw him eliminated, and Jono Voudouris going through.
Matt Grice in the lead in the Borough JZX100, usually driving a VK Turbo LS with Daniel Messmer all the way from Cairns in the chase.
You can see a cooler pipe flapping around there under the driver's side headlight. I'd say Gricey, unfortunately, having a few mechanical issues there.
Steve Cerrone, thanks to DC Tuning with Ross Quigley in the chase. Steve Cerrone, engine dramas at round 1, rod through the block, rebuilt his motor, he's back out there and he's looking on song this weekend.
Ross Quigley, really fast though, that car switching direction very, very nicely. Now, this is how your top 4 shapes up. Adrian Pinaro up against Jono Voudouris. Steve Cerrone will be battling the points leader at the moment, Daniel Messmer, all the way down from Cairns, which is an especially long drive to Winton Raceway in Benalla, Victoria. Straight into the top 4 of Pro-Am now. We will see those battles shape up. Adrian Pinaro leading Jono Voudouris now. Nice aggressive entry from the local there. Bit of a scando and a switchback, but Jono Voudouris right there with him. Beautiful emulation and a switchback. Just that little bit wide for Jono, missing that middle clipping point, and then onto the front straight. Adrian Pinaro pulling away with superior speed.
Yeah, Adrian just owning that run there, as you can see. Beautiful entry, nice little scando. Boom, Jono's there. Remember, this is the first time Jono has been behind the wheel of this vehicle. And you know what, man, he's fallen into that seat rather nicely. He'll be one to watch out for the following rounds upcoming.
The position's reversed now, and Jono Voudouris getting the chance to lead Adrian Pinaro. We can see they're missing the gear grab.
Is not happy. The old T56 does not want to go into 3rd.
The old bouncy gear, hey? And yeah, unfortunately, that's Jono Voudouris' battle pretty much decided there. Now, the judges have divided this judge section into a 1st and 2nd section. As much as Jono is drifting through that last bit there and getting himself some points, it looks like Adrian Pinaro getting a very strong advantage there, and I'd be surprised if he doesn't get the win in this battle.
Let's take a look again, thanks to Famous Insurance. Boom, as you can see, Jono doesn't like to get in third. Not happy, is roasting in that car. He knows that he's had a chance to get up on that podium, his first ever event. He's still going to be in the top 4, which is something to take away for the next round.
Love that he's got the big Commodore gear knob on there, something that he shares with Mo El Houli. Steve Cerrone now leading our points leader, Daniel Mesmer in the Famous Insurance Pro-Am Series. All the way down from Cairns, absolutely slaying in the Drift for Real on Friday, but unfortunately coming into competition, finding himself a few misfires out of that SR20. Still driving through it.
Steve Cerrone was there. Let's just take a look at the judge line, a little bit off that clip. That way you're nice and tight on that ripple, but as you can come onto the straight, the judges want you wide, and Steve is out there. Perfect, just like the pros are doing, if not even better.
Yeah, nice on the wide zone there, but those orange cones on the inside of each of the corners through the front S's, you really want to see the front bar of the car as close to that as you can. Daniel, when the positions are switched, you can see the line that he's going for, nice and narrow, into the ripple strip there, and Steve Cerrone going wide.
Off into the dirt. Steve trying to get on Messmer's door, puts it a little bit wide.
Unfortunately, that's going to be a pretty hard advantage to overcome. As much as Steve Cerrone in his lead did some really, really nice line work there through the outside, Daniel Mesmer much neater through the clips here, and then Steve Cerrone dropping what looks like a single wheel but could have been 2 wheels. Judges making the call there to see these guys run one more time thanks to Kitten Ultra.
Let's turn them around. Steven Cerrone in the lead. Daniel Mesmer in the chase. Nice entry from the boys. Mesmer knows he needs to put it on the door if he wants to come out on top in this run. As they come through the S's, Cerrone runs a little bit wide, then again he'll push out here. Oh, Mesmer with the contact.
Looks like a bit of a slap there as Steve Cerrone's car smashed a big old gate flame out under the middle of it. We'll see in the replay here, they switch back together nice and neatly. Daniel Mesmer chasing close, but it's on this switchback, bang, into the front bar. Like, you don't actually see the damage there or any sort of contact, but there was definitely something there for Daniel Mesmer to run wide.
Daniel Mesmer in the lead, Steve Cerrone in the chase as they enter. Mesmer chasing a miss all weekend, trying to drive through it, trying to get in that podium. Cerrone, late transition again, can he get back on Mesmer's door?
Big gap opening up, which is saying something considering how down on power Daniel Mesmer's car is. Very, very nice drive there. And there's Steve Cerrone just heading wide, even if he didn't drop a wheel, just outside on that inside clipping point and cone there. Not quite right, and I'd say there is an advantage to Daniel Mesmer. Steve Cerrone leading now.
They're going to go one more time thanks to the judges. Cerrone with the entry. Oh, they knew there was going to be a driver picked after this battle. Steve comes in, haul in, and goes off track, unfortunately. Daniel Mesmer follows him in. That run will pretty much be a 0 to Cerrone. As you can see, trying to get that advantage, trying to come in quick, doesn't hold it. Steve runs offline. Mesmer follows him in, so Steve will be copping the 0 for that one. Daniel will have a 10-0 lead.
Yeah, the judges saying in the driver's briefing that they really want to see the chase driver, even if the lead makes a mistake, following them practically to the track edge and even into the dirt, and that's exactly what Daniel Mesmer has done.
Mesmer on a nice run. Cerrone drops a wheel. That could be it. Mesmer should be going through.
Part of the judging criteria is that if one wheel is dropped, there's a 5-point deduction, which is half of your score. If there's 2 wheels dropped, it is a 0. So I'd say here that Steve Cerrone has scored himself what looks like a 0.
Daniel Mesmer will go through.
And that's how our battle tree shapes up. So Adrian Pinaro will be facing up against our points leader, Daniel Mesmer, while John Overdouris and Steve Cerrone will fight it out for that 3rd place trophy. On the other side of the break, we will see the Hi-Tec Drift Allstars finals decided along with the Famous Insurance Pro-Am. Welcome back and straight into the action of round 2 of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. Now we're going into our Pro Top 4, riding on board with the pro himself, Michael Proz, and his beautiful naturally aspirated V8 S13. He is our points leader out in front of the series, and it's sure to be a tight battle. This car has had pace all weekend.
Up against the man, Rob Arbolino in the Hi-Tec Allstars 350Z. Nice entry from the boys. Oh!
It's always hard to have a battle of the bros, you know, like in the pits, these guys best mates, but as soon as you're out there, game face on. Now, seems to be mechanical issues for the Hi-Tec 350Z. Transitioned nicely one way, but on the snapback, didn't seem to be spinning one of those wheels, so maybe a diff or a drive shaft issue there, while Michael Prosnick out in front, absolutely slaying.
Yeah, as you can see, they come in the entry, looking good from both the boys. Boom, Pros on, abs back. Come through the S's here, and this is where the 350 shuts down. Pretty sure it's going to be a broken axle. Wait for confirmation.
How tight was that transition on the chase from Proz as well? Like, even if that 350Z was down on power, watch here. Proz's rear bumper is practically in the back hatch of that 350Z. Very impressive chase technique.
Oh, nice.
And if anything, also seemed to be down on that cloud making tip, you know, like it didn't seem to be making as much power as we have seen before. Possibly that motor a bit sad after 2 days of absolute carnage.
Nice entry from Prosnick. As you can see, Avellino trying his best, but obviously that car still chasing his dramas.
How's the snap? Look at that, lock to lock to lock, straight through those front S's. Michael Prosnick really demonstrating that, you know what, you come to my state, you better bring some game.
As you can see on the entry, Pros looking good through the S's. That's where he gets on the gas early and holds the foot flat through the transition, out wide where the judge will want to see, up through the S's onto the straight and through the finish line. Perfect run. Unfortunately for the 350Z, obviously a few dramas. Those boys will have that car sorted and be back at round 3.
There's a confirmation from Kitten Ultra. That is a win for Michael Prosnick. It means that he will be facing up against someone for the top step. One of these two, whoever's going to win it. So Mo El Hooley up against Bo the Show Yates. Sure to be an interesting one. Bo, our second place points leader. Also our top qualifier at this round. But Mo El Hooley, from up in the commentary box, seems to have absolute road speed over anyone else in the field. But Bo Yates, look at that line there. Going so nice and deep into that pocket, coming out of the front S's. Smashing all 3 of those outside clipping point cones. Killer lead run from Bo.
As you can see, they come through. Bo rides that ripple, drops that wheel, pushes him out really wide to the judge want to see. Mo nearly gets his line shut off, but does really well to keep on Bo's door.
That was so well done there, you know, jumping over those inside clips. Mo with him with the speed, but now being in that lead position, it's Mo's turn to flex and just go, you know what, this is my track.
How good is Mo O'Hooley's bash bar on the front of his car, letting all the drivers know, if you're on my way, you are going to cop that, and I'm not holding back. But look at him go, Mo O'Hooley in the Turbo Garage Works S13, absolutely pulling away from both the Show Yates.
It's such an interesting battle seeing these two drivers go head to head. And you know what? I'm really interested to see a battle where Bo Yates's, you know, class leading car might actually be that little bit down on power and speed in a battle. That's really going to be putting